What are some foods that most people have been eating the wrong way or not the way it was intended? Please like, subscribe and comment so I can create more videos for you. When I eat string cheese, I make the strings as small as possible before eating them. It takes me an average of 30 minutes to eat one. An HR if I'm really trying to annoy my wife. When I was a kid, I was at a party. They had a huge seafood broil. I was first in line and got about 20 shrimp on my plate. I had never had shrimp where you had to peel the shell off, so I just started eating them. With the first one I thought it was disgusting but didn't want to seem rude for not eating the other 19, so I forced myself to eat the rest. After I was done, some people sat down at my table and all started peeling their shrimp, and that's when I realized I was an idiot. My grandfather enjoys eating lightly salted peaches with mayonnaise. If you didn't know there was a wrong way to eat a peach, now you know. In the South, some people eat pear salad. It's a hard pear with mayonnaise and shredded cheese. My dad served us underripe fruit my entire childhood because to him firm equals good and soft equals bad. The first time I had a mango that was actually ripe, I was an adult and the experience was borderline orgasmic. Find an Indian store near you and find out if they import the Alfonso Hapus Hapus varietal of mango. If not, the Bagan Pali might do. Those make most regular supermarket mangoes in Europe the US look bad. This is real irrelevant to me today, because I just found out that my girlfriend has been buying smoked salmon for years then cooking it. What the fuck? This triggers me more than anything else in this thread by far. Just what the actual fuck? Smoked salmon is fucking heavenly. How dare your GF desecrate it like that? Recently read where people were eating the fucking wax on Babybel cheeses and I haven't been the same since. I used to think this was what the kids in school used to mean when they used wax to spike their hair up. I came in one day with lumps of Babybel wax in my hair thinking it was working. It was not. I was nicknamed Babybel for the rest of primary school. There was a comment a long time ago from a guy who found out in adulthood that you aren't supposed to eat the cupcake wrappers when someone looked horrified when he ate it. When I first ate edamame, I chewed up the entire pod and couldn't figure out why people enjoyed eating them. I did realize you're just supposed to eat the bean inside the pod. Not peas in a pod. Beans. I felt so cool when I was able to teach my son this the first time he ate edamame. I mainly felt cool because I had been doing it wrong my entire life and had been corrected by a coworker just 2 weeks prior. I've been eating tamales with the husk on for years before I saw the last post of this. No one ever corrected me, and some people started to eat the husk too, like I had some inside knowledge about it. Speak Spanish, work as a chef, I'm fucking dumb. I still eat the husk though. I saw a person eat a tamale with the corn husk still on it. Apparently many people do this. ? I live in Canada and once I bought tamales for my Canadian friends for a Christmas party. I never thought I had to explain you have to remove the husk, cause well I never thought we'll eat it, but here my friends were starting to eat it with the husk. As a Mexican that likes cooking and having friends over for supper, I never though I would have to explain how to make and eat a taco to my friends. People always ask me where is the ground beef, shredded cheese or sour cream. Or why I'm using soft tortillas and not hard shells. It also blows my mind that people would eat a taco with a cold corn tortilla. Bibimbap, the good food webpage, is supposed to be mixed up then eaten, not eaten individually. It's like a special rice dish that you mix yourself. And if it comes in a heated stone bowl, wait a while for some of the rice sticking to the bowl to crisp up. I had a roommate who put ketchup on his pizza. Now I completely understand that it has tomato sauce on it anyway, so ketchup doesn't sound too crazy, but one time I made a homemade chicken Alfredo pizza with white sauce and before even taking a bite he smothered it in ketchup. A man once sued a restaurant in Miami for serving him an artichoke which he promptly ate all off. Doctor sues restaurant for letting him eat a whole artichoke. Eat a web page. I don't mean like he finished the artichoke. I mean that this guy, who apparently is a doctor, Just ate the entire fucking thing, including all of the inedible parts. For those of you who have never encountered an artichoke, the edible part of the plant is a fleshy substance that is on the inside parts of the leaves. You scrape it off and eat that part and discard the leaves. The artichoke heart, at the middle of all of the leaves, is also edible, and delicious. Dart. The stem and the fibrous leaves are not edible. Well, I guess except to this guy. My friend eats popcorn by picking the fluffy parts away from each piece and discarding the seed center. Every time I tell him he's an idiot, but he's too stubborn to just eat a damn piece of popcorn like a human. I do this sometimes to avoid getting the bits stuck in my gums. It's one of my most toxic traits. 12.6k comments later. This will never be seen, but the first time I tried sunflower seeds, I didn't know you were supposed to get the seed out and spit the shell, so I just chewed them up and swallowed them. Man, the following day deuce was a wee bit painful. My buddy's stepdad puts sugar in his fucking mac and cheese. Sometimes I think about it and I can't sleep. You know why restaurant food tastes good? Sugar, salt, butter. So much of each. Edit. No, not just American food. Go study at Le Cordon Bleu or work in any place with a Michelin star. I don't know about most people, but growing up I always thought I hated guavas because they were so dry. Turns out, my parents used to cut out the best part, the fleshy seedy inside, and serve me the dry rinds. Edit. Since a lot of the comments are confused, I'd like to clear a few things up. The guavas I'm talking about look like these. Iming web page. My parents would cut out where the seeds are and eat the green part and the white parts where there are no seeds. Not sure if that's full of the rind. I guess the easiest way to compare it is with a watermelon. It's like cutting away the red flesh and eating the skin and white part. No, my parents don't hate me maybe for other reasons, because I've seen them throw away the seeds. We are Vietnamese and my parents prefer the dry, crunchy texture with some chili salt and think the seeds cause constipation. Bonus, here, Imga webpage, is a picture of one of the guavas I ate. You can see how soft and ripe it is, with a worm in it. Corn on the cob. Once you reach the end of each row, you must make that old typewriter sounding and proceed to the next row. Nuts should be cracked lengthwise, not on the sides, to avoid getting pieces of the shell mixed in with the nut meat. Up until a couple of years ago, 20 to currently, I thought you were supposed to bite the skin off the apple then eat it. If I didn't have a knife I would spend my time biting around the entire apple, spitting the skin out, then eating it. Edit. Rind to skin. Lets you know how long I've been eating oranges and how long I've gone without an apple. Thank you, Hungry Root. The skin is riddled with toxins. The correct way to eat an apple is to cut the skin off with your toy knife. If you eat salmon to have a healthy meal, it's more beneficial to leave the skin on. Just fry it with some salt, pepper until it's crispy. I always serve it without the skin on. And X200B. This allows me to eat both my own and my wife's. Okay, so this is more along the lines of me eating a certain dish the wrong way, but when I was little my mom would make French toast except she would put chilies, onions and sometimes chicken on it. I grew up thinking French toast was a savory dish until I ordered it at a diner and it was sweet. I still like my mom's version of French toast better tbh. Edit. Thanks so much for the silver. In the UK we call it eggy bread and my dad would frequent make it with cheese on top. Also wasn't aware it was sweet until I got older. Not many people know but you are supposed to remove the membrane that is on the bottom of a rack of ribs before you cook them. It makes them easier to cut and eat. My older sister was telling me about how much she hated asparagus because it was so chewy. I asked if she cut the ends off and she said she did. It took a few more minutes of talking about the ways I like to make asparagus and especially the tops before I realized she was cutting the wrong end of the asparagus off. No wonder she didn't like it. Vegemite. As an American I was tricked into eating some as a sandwich and was convinced it was just a food meant to prank people with. An Australian friend was alarmed when I recounted this and corrected the method for me. Oh god no, You don't eat it as a sandwich. You've got to get yourself a nice piece of toast, spread a good layer of butter on it, then just the tiniest scrape of Vegemite over that. And if you can get a slice of cheap processed cheese on there, even better. Please don't dismiss Vegemite until you give it another go. This same friend introduced me to Tim Tams and the Tim Tam Slam, so who was I not to trust her implicitly? I took her advice, and I'm glad I did. Ended up buying myself a little jar because dang, that's a nice little savory punch if you use it right. Edit. 1. Vegemite sandwiches are apparently totally legit. But for the palates unfamiliar with the stuff, I think the buttered toast method is a great introduction. 2. Thank you for all the killer ideas and combinations. 3. Tim Tam Slam equals bite opposite corners of Tim Tam. Use a straw in favorite hot drink. Eat gooey amazing Tim Tam. Vegemite sandwiches are a thing though. Some of us do eat it that way, but you don't put great thick globs of it on there. Also mixed with proper butter it's awesome. My grandpa would peel a green apple using this nifty little device, then salt it and put it on a stick and give it to me. Edit. Thanks for the gold, kind stranger. Ginger with sushi. You're actually supposed to eat the ginger slices between eating the rolls of sushi so as to cleanse the palate. Although, personally I love putting ginger and wasabi on my sushi roll then eating it in one bite. Edit. Thanks for the silver. Came here to say this. Also dipping nigiri in the soy sauce with the rice part. You dip the fish, not the rice. The previous time this question was asked, someone replied sucking the caviar straight out of the fish cunt and I laughed myself straight into an asthma attack. Sauerkraut. At least for my Bavarian meal take out of jar, rinse lightly, don't remove all the flavor, saute onions and carrots, mix in kraut and broth, simmer for an hour or so until it's tender, eat with gravy. It's a side, like mashed potatoes. Edit add gravy if it's with a meal with gravy. I was picturing a holiday meal like roast duck with cloth and kraut. With sausages, I wouldn't make gravy. Not a heavy gloppy gravy, a broth gravy. Also, forgot some fat in that sauteed onion. Bacon, duck fat. Not others but I don't take Oreos apart and lick the frosting off first. I just bite into them like a savage. When I was a kid I used to scrape all the frosting off my Oreos with a spoon, eat the cookies, and give the frosting to my siblings. Edit. I'm a middle child and I did this out of love because I knew they liked the frosting and sometimes I just wanted the cookies. Growing up I hated steak. My mom didn't want us having undercooked food, so steak was always well done. I was about 25 when I tried steak at a wedding that was cooked correctly. Now I love steak. I still don't like most red meat because I grew up eating overcooked pieces of meat. To everyone who eats spaghetti with a little itty bitty smidge of sauce at the top with the rest completely dry and white, atone or be banged from cooking forever. We banged my mother from cooking after we were old enough to figure it out ourselves. Mostly over her spaghetti. She cooked a pound of noodles and then topped it with spaghetti sauce made from a dry packet and water. It made about a cup and a half of sauce and she expected it to be enough for the entire pound of pasta. When we complained that there wasn't enough, instead of making more sauce, she put a bottle of ketchup on the table. She is a terrible cook. Her pork chops could replace hockey pucks. Ladies and gentlemen of Reddit. Do whatever you'd like behind closed doors, but please remember if you're eating a banana in public it's banana to mouth, not mouth to banana. No one is saying you can't eat a banana, Terry. But you can't stand on the corner sucking on it for 30 minutes. You have to actually take a bite. This question reminds me so much of the famous "You people make me sick" rant on our grilled cheese, credit to you fuck blue shells. To wit, Comrie grilled cheese consists of only these following items. Cheese. Bread with spread, usually butter, dart. This entire subreddit consists of melts. Almost every grilled cheese sandwich I see on here has other items added to it. The fact that this subreddit is called grilled cheese is nothing short of utter blasphemy. Let me start out by saying I have nothing against melts. I just hate their association with sandwiches that are not grilled cheeses. Adding cheese to your tuna sandwich. It's called a tuna melt. Totally different. Want to add bacon and some pretentious breadcrumbs with spinach. I don't know what the hell you'd call that, but it's not a grilled cheese. I would be more than willing to wager I've eaten more grilled cheeses in my 21 years than any of you had in your entire lives. I have one almost every day and sometimes more than just one sandwich. Want to personalize your grilled cheese? Use a mix of different cheeses or use sourdough or French bread. But if you want to add some pulled pork and take a picture of it, make your own subreddit entitled melts, because that is not a fucking grilled cheese. I'm not a religious man, nor am I anything close to a culinary expert. But as a bland white mid-Western male, I am honestly the most passionate person when it comes to grilled cheese and mac and cheese. All of you foodies, stay the hell away from our grilled cheeses and stop associating your sandwich melts with them. Yet again, it is utter blasphemy and it rocks me to the core of my pale being. Shit, I stopped lurking after 3 years and made this account for the sole purpose of posting this. I've seen post after post of people's grilled cheeses all over Reddit and it's been driving me insane. The moment I saw this subreddit this morning, I finally snapped. Hell, I may even start my own subreddit just because I know this one exists now. You goddamn heretics. Respect the grilled cheese and stop changing it into whatever you like and love it for it what it is. Or make your damn melt sandwich and call it for what it is. A melt. I know it's tangentially related, but still. Edit. Jesus Christ, people. Thanks, but this doesn't deserve this many upvotes. Edit 2. Apparently you fuck blue shells is commenting on daughter posts. So here's my question for him. According to you, grilled cheese cannot be a melt. Can a melt be grilled cheese, though? Edit 3. They said number. Not only was the essay brilliant, but I loved the top comment when someone called him out for having a meltdown. People eat hot dogs from the wrong side all the time. Fucking morons. Coffee. Right now, we are in the golden age of coffee. For thousands of years it tasted like ass-soaked ashes. If you have good beans, you can actually make a tasty cup without cream and sweetener. The Dutch have a pastry which is called a tompoes. It basically is 2 square crispy doughs with cream in between and icing on top of the top dough. When you take a bit from it, cream will be squished out of it on basically all sides, but that is still how most people eat them, or eating things separately. However, if you take the top icing covered dough and put it at the bottom, you will first bite the cream, followed by the 2 doughs, without causing a mess, and it tastes so much better. Link for visual, Wikipedia webpage. Lentils. Boil them fully into a curry and add little things to make them taste good. Spices, the way that South Indians do. Partially cooked lentils with no flavor, why bother? My ex hated lentils and refused to let me cook him any kind of curry with them, even though I have an amazing recipe. Like, sorry your dad fed you undercooked lentils in a bowl with salt and pepper, but we're adults now. Try it cooked correctly at least once. When I first moved to Vancouver, a bunch of new Chinese friends took me out to eat. They started ordering a bunch of dishes which I quickly found out was meant to be shared among everyone. I realized the very few times my family and I went to eat at a Chinese restaurant and ordered dishes for just ourselves, we were doing it very wrong. I went out for Chinese with a group of friends and one guy didn't know about the family style thing. He was a bit picky, so ordered orange chicken and ate the whole thing himself, while the other 3 of us had to share the veg noodle and rice dishes. He guarded his stuff and reluctantly only shared some of it. We still sometimes tease him about being the orange chicken dictator. You're supposed to wait for the pizza rolls to cool down before you put them in your mouth, not after, while you're doing the dragon breath thing, trying not to let them touch your tongue. Edit. Cool. I like to bite a corner on one end, then the opposite end, then lightly blow out the steam. Can't do it too strongly or the filling flies out too. Some people eat donuts rather than giving them to me, which is what you're supposed to do with them. Line for apple fritters starts here, guys. Line right up, no pushing, I'll take them all. As a child I always scraped the frosting off of cake before eating it. Still do if it's especially thick or sweet. I want to taste the cake. My girlfriend grew up eating everything well done, whether it was chicken or steak, because her dad didn't really know how to grill. When her mom got sick, we would come over and cook meals, and for one of her last meals, couldn't even really swallow at this point, fuck ALS, she requested I grill her a steak. I was super fucking nervous because this would be her last solid meal, but I managed to get her a pretty decent medium rare and she had 3 bites and loved it. GF said as long as it wasn't a hockey puck she would have been thrilled because she had been eating her husband's burnt steaks for years. I eat kiwis with the hairy skin on. My mom said I seemed to like it, so she wasn't going to stop me. Later on I find out that I'm a freak of nature for doing it, but I still eat it that way because I just like it. The only downside is that since I like the texture of the hair and skin, I have forbidden fruit moments when I'm looking at the abdomen of a tarantula. If you steam Brussels sprouts and also don't salt and pepper them, of course you don't like them. They need to be charred and on the brink of almost burnt for them to be good. Olive oil, salt and pepper in a 450-degree oven, cut in half. Cook for 10 to 15 minutes. Edit. I really didn't think that many people cared about Brussels sprouts. Personally, I like mine pan-fried on high heat with salt, lemon, garlic, and some red pepper. And the slightly burnt leaves that get crunchy are totally the best part. It's not traditional to eat Thai food with chopsticks. They use a fork and a tablespoon. Stop asking for chopsticks in Thai restaurants. Good to know. I can't eat pad Thai with chopsticks, but ironically they always give them with the other utensils anyway. Glad to know I shouldn't be practicing. It might have been said already, but I got tired of scrolling. I don't know if it's most, but I know it's fairly common to rinse off your pasta after you drain the water. Don't do that. Also, cooking the pasta until it sticks to a wall means you overcooked it. I've read plenty of ways to make your pasta better, but those 2 simple things are the only ones that really made any difference to me. Edit. Just spare my inbox a little, and I don't expect everybody to read every reply to this. I'm going to add that adding starchy water to the sauce and rinsing the pasta is good when it's cold or saved for later has been covered. People rinse pasta both to stop the cooking process and to remove the starch so that it doesn't stick together. Makes some sense for a pasta salad, no sense at all for a hot pasta dish. Cooking pasta for a hot dish is simple. Boil salty water, as salty as the ocean. Cook pasta, tasting as needed until it is slightly less cooked than you want it to be. Drain pasta and reserve a 1/4 cup of starchy water. Since your marinara has been simmering for hours, return the pasta to the cooking pot with the starchy water, and toss with several ladles of the sauce, until all the pasta is coated. Now every piece of pasta is deliciously saucy and you can control how much additional sauce you want. Never use unsalted water. Never add oil. Never rinse. Always coat pasta with sauce immediately after cooking. I just commented this somewhere else as well, but for my entire life, up until last week, I didn't know you were supposed to add water to a can of Campbell's soup. Apparently I've been eating straight condensed soup. For me, it was crackers with any sort of topping until my wife showed me the error of my ways. I would always put cheese, or whatever spread I might be eating with the crackers on the top, that is, salty side of the cracker. My wife lost her ever-loving mind when she saw me do this. She then proceeded to explain to me that I should turn the cracker over and put the spread, cheese, or whatever on the bottom so that the salty side would hit my tongue when I put the bite in my mouth. It was a revelation. I have a friend that uses his mouth and unrolls Swiss rolls. Like, what the fuck, dude? Watching him eat one for the first time made me question his whole existence. People eat dates by just popping them in their mouths and spitting out the seeds, but I found a way easier method which involves less gruesome saliva strings. You bite a bit off from the end, and the seed can just slide out. Simple. Ice cream should be eaten straight out of the tub, with a spoon, while crying and hating yourself for doing it. Masturbation is optional. The classic McVitie's chocolate digestive biscuit, the chocolate is on the bottom. This is according to the manufacturer. As they point out, the lettering is on the top, and the chocolate is on the flat side, which is clearly the bottom of the non-chocolate equivalent. They float them along a river of chocolate to dip them. I'm not even kidding. IDK about most people, but I see way too many videos about people eating surströmming wrong. It's partially fermented fish. You don't just open a can in your living room and put a whole fish in your mouth, you fucking idiot. How are you supposed to eat it? I'm seriously curious because I knew there was no way people were just downing that stuff like Oreos. Your pork chops and turkey are overcooked and not properly rested. That's why they are disgusting and dry. Look up dry and wet brining. Look up newer cooking temps. Cooking your turkey to 165 means it holds over to 170. And then you slice it immediately. And all the juices run out. Cook pork chops to medium and let them rest. Let all your cooked meat rest, goddammit. Edit. Many comments on sous vide and not needing to rest. I don't have one so I can't comment. But apparently it's not needed. But most people don't have a sous vide. Edit 2. Some good debate on resting or not. While I respect the Meathead Goldwyn articles posted, I use Amazing Ribs a lot. I have a hard time accepting one man's opinion as fact, as so many others say otherwise. And maybe he is right as far as losing juices. But his method does not allow for making pan sauces or someone else wanting to eat something other than that steak first. Resting allows you to accomplish a few other tasks first, some of which can't be completed until your steaks are out of the pan. Making his method give you a medium well or well done steak. If you want to pull your steak out of the heat and eat it right that second, then go ahead. But that's the only way that will work. Stop. Do not tell people these basic cooking principles, JFC. Or I'll stop looking like a pro chef to my pleb friends when they learn that my secret is just waterlogging a bird with salt water in a 5-gallon bucket overnight. Gyros. Don't get me wrong. I love a good lamb beef spices gyro that are so popular in the US, but in Greece the gyros are not pre-processed lamb and beef cones, but strips of pork skewered together, and OMG so good. There are some places that sell pork gyros and souvlaki. Do yourself a favor and try them. I recently discovered that sticking your fork in a steak and picking it up to take a bite isn't how most people eat steak. I have now remembered that knives exist. NGL. Sometimes when I go camping by myself and only by myself, I cook myself a nice steak over the fire and eat that bitch with my hands and no knife. Primal laugh and very satisfying. You don't have to take the peel off of your Big Mac and it's good in vitamins. Ya seen these charcoal lickers? You heard of these guys? Yeah, well there are these people out there, and I don't know who raised them or how they turned out the way they did, but they eat their tacos middle out. They dip their heads down to their tacos and lick out all the insides first, then eat the soggy shell afterwards. Sometimes they don't even eat the shell. I can't take my kids out to the taqueria anymore because of these freaks. I don't want my little girls to become charcoal lickers. It's just not natural, and I will not have any charcoal lickers living under the roof of my house. I have seen people eating a burger piece by piece. And I mean literally take the top bun, eat it, take the burger, eat it, the lettuce, etc. Casuals, I dip it into the water. I used to think I didn't like steak because I didn't learn that there were meat temperatures other than well done until college. I thought any pink was just raw meat because my mom never made it any rarer. She just doesn't like it that way. I tried a rare steak for the first time my freshman year and never went back. To be fair, I also come from a hunting family, so any game we get has to be cooked all the way through to kill off any and all bacteria, so that was just a practice we got used to for everything. My dad used to say I was too lazy to chew because I didn't like eating his grilled leather. Turns out I love steak at medium or medium rare. I'm not an Aussie, but according to Hugh Jackman says you should only use a very little bit of Vegemite on a piece of toast. Using a lot of what gives it that terrible reputation. Sushi. More specifically nigiri. If you're going to dip in soy sauce, don't dip the rice in. Dip the fish. Rice absorbs too much of the soy and it overpowers it. The fish won't, so it's easier to not overdo it on the soy sauce. Not a crazy WTF thing, but a helpful hint for enjoying sushi. In general, I say you can enjoy your sushi however you want to. Dip the fish, dip the rice, brush with ginger, dip rolls that already have sauce, whatever. But this one time I saw someone take a piece of a sushi roll, set it down in their soy sauce dish, and dissect the roll while it soaked in soy sauce. That was the wrong way to eat sushi. Thai spring rolls. You're meant to wrap the lettuce around the roll and then dip it in the sauce. Maybe not eating the wrong way, but a lot of people put tomatoes in the fridge and you're not supposed to. Egg rolls. For the best experience, eat it with the lettuce like a taco and dip it into the fish sauce. Don't eat it on its own. Sauce mom is Viet. Edit. Sorry for the confusion. I was referring to chajio, not the Chinese egg rolls you find in Chinese restaurants. Definitely ask for chajio when going to a Viet restaurant. It'll change your life. Fruit. We are supposed to eat the seeds and then poop them out on soil to plant more trees. We do neither. Pringles are supposed to be put in your mouth upside down. It might feel a little bit weird, but it's the side with the most flavor. But then I can't place it on my top and then press it up to crush it against the roof of my mouth, so what's the point? People that eat string cheese like a hot stick. Neanderthals. Edit. Clarification on hot stick. Like a meat stick. Like a Slim Jim but thicker and shorter. Probably just a Wisconsin Midwest term for them. Yet, that method of eating a cheese stick is fine when it's breaded, lol. When you are cooking kale, add a tablespoon of coconut oil. This makes it much easier to scrape it into the trash. Tofu. People eat like an unseasoned microwaved block of tofu and go like, I don't think this is for me. Dog, tofu is a flavor sponge. You gotta press the water out, add your seasonings, and provide salt and fat for tastiness. For anyone trying tofu, press it, then quick marinate it in a 50/50 soy sauce and hot sauce dip. Add black pepper, cumin, and splash of liquid smoke. Slice it thin and pan fry it in oil. You'll have crack level tasty kind of bacon. You're supposed to break off a piece of Hershey's where the limes are instead of eating the entire thing, you savage. My wife was ready for divorce when I bit into a freshly opened Kit Kat bar without breaking off a piece. Mountain Dew was developed in the 40s as a mixer for whiskey. Wikipedia webpage. Not exactly the answer, but I love eating stale Cheetos. Whenever I buy them, I open the bag and let them go stale before consuming. They just taste way better that way. Not relevant to the thread, but this reminded me, one time I got drunk and fell asleep eating fritters. A little while later I woke up because I heard a soft crinkling sound and then crunching right behind me. I was very confused, but then I saw it, my cat was frickin' stealing my fritters right out of the bag. I used to work with a young lady who would eat peanuts, shells and all. To her that was just how you did it. Spoiler, so I don't give a British person a heart attack! I squeeze my tea bags into my tea because I like the bitter taste of the tannins. And my wife! Microwaves a teacup with water and the tea bag in it. While not squeezing the bag is the correct way, a lot of people here prefer to squeeze it for a stronger brew. Your wife, however, is a lunatic. I eat donuts and other similarly frosted desserts upside down. Why am I paying for frosting when my tongue is only touching dough? Edit. Change dessert to dessert. An alternative method is to chew your food before swallowing. In this manner you can actually taste all parts of it, including anything that may be on the inside. The best way to eat a cupcake is to pull off the bottom half of the cake and put in top and eat it like a sandwich. It fits in your mouth easier and you get better proportions of cake to frosting that way. I seen a lot of videos on the internet. Apparently cucumbers are supposed to go in a woman's vagina, not her mouth. Kiwis, you can eat the peel. Just bite into it. No need to cut it in half and scoop it out. People can make their basic ramen taste a bit better. Open the packet, take out the seasoning, and set it aside. Cook the ramen just in the water. After it's cooked, drain the water, leaving only a tiny amount. Pour some more out, you still have too much, just a little, and add the seasoning and mix it at that point. It actually flavors the noodles themselves and makes them taste much better. Some people eat takeout white rice by itself rather than mixing it with the dish to absorb the sauce. Alright, this shit's getting buried, but whatever. Caesar salad. It's not really your fault though. It's typically prepared wrong because people are idiots and ate it wrong anyway. You see, the way it's supposed to be prepared is with whole romaine leaves. You take the whole leaves, toss them in dressing, top with cheese and croutons. Simple enough. But you're then supposed to eat it with your fingers. Yes, pick that shit up and eat it. The romaine leaves should be large and sturdy enough to handle it. If not, it's a shitty salad. I have worked in precisely one restaurant that served it the correct way. All of the others did it the stupid cow-touter morons way where you dice the lettuce. Fuck, I had people send the salad back because they refused to cut it on their own. Yes, I am completely serious. These were grown-ass adults. Except for one man. One glorious mad bastard. Everyone gave him shit for it, but he was right. One person in 4 years actually ate the goddamn salad with his hands, leaving the undressed portion of the base of the leaf uneaten. Wherever you are, that dude, I will never forget. This seems like a terrible way to eat salad. Maybe it's how it was meant to be eaten, but I think there's a reason nobody eats it like that anymore. We improved it. Almost all produce had been genetically modified to be edible from their true, inedible forms. Yes, even your non-GMO produce has been changed. Tomatoes, carrots, corn, berries, watermelon, bananas, eggplant, most apple varieties, potatoes, etc. etc. What you know them as now are products of genetic modification. Zucchini and squash. They should be sliced, sprinkled with a dash of vinegar and black pepper, lightly fried, garnished with parsley, and then thrown into the compost heap. Squash is delicious, and speaking as a meat eater and lover of pasta, a lasagna with zucchini noodles was probably top 3 I've ever had. Vagina. Even if you think you know how, most vagina owners will tell you that's not the right way. Some people actually consume pineapple by itself instead of putting on a pizza where it goes.